Quite lucky when you study psychology because you're in a unique position compared to other courses in the fact that you can actually get involved with things to do with specifically the school. So you can take part and volunteer at things like Summer Scientist Week, so children and their families come in every year for a week or so to take part in research and games and activities. You can also help researchers with their research, so things like recruiting participants and collecting and analysing their data. And your help can actually be published in a paper as well, which is goals as a psychology student.
At university, you have a personal tutor, which will be a member of staff from your subject area. It will provide guidance to you throughout your degree. During your first year at university, you will meet with them once a week for a small group session. This will help to support the transition into university, provide essential study skills and advise students on higher education. One-to-one meetings will allow to go over any issues and guide your progress to achieve your goals. Your tutor will be the same throughout your 3 years at university, so will become a regular point of contact for you. You can go to your tutor for personal and academic problems. They will either help you themselves or they will be able to direct you to a person or a support service that can. You can email your tutor, visit them during office hours or arrange a meeting, but no matter what, they will be there to support you.
A commonly asked question is how much contact time you have on the course, and this varies across the different years. So for example, in first and second year, you can expect to have around 8 contact hours per week. This is because you end up taking 4 modules per semester, and from this you have 2 contact hours per module per week, which makes up the 8-hour total. In addition to this, in first year, you will also have a weekly tutorial meeting with your personal supervisor, which then brings up the total to 9 contact hours.
One thing I thought about when looking at different degrees, which I'm sure some of you are thinking about now, is whether it was valuable to take a degree with a work placement year. Now for me, I found that during my summer breaks, I have enough time to fit in work experience. For example, I was able to secure a job working with children and adults with disabilities, and this will be great experience that I can take forward in the future. If you decide that you want to have a year out to work in industry, or maybe you want to have a year abroad, this is definitely something that you can incorporate into your degree when you get to that point. So it's not like you have to commit before you start your degree to whether you want a work placement year or a year out to go abroad. You can decide that when you start your degree and see if it's right for you at that time, which I think is great because there's no pressure before you start to decide what you might want to be doing in a couple years' time.
But any job that you decide to do, whether it's to do with psychology specifically and research, will give you the skills that you need to do any kind of job that you want to do after. And that's another thing about psychology, you can do pretty much anything you want with it afterwards because you've got all those different skills that you need: communication, organisation, people skills, math skills and all those sorts of things. So just bear in mind as you go through your degree, whatever work experience you can get is ideal.
Hello, so a question we get asked a lot on the course is if there's a lot of maths involved. Now there's not lots of maths, but there's a fair amount of stats, but don't panic because I know that worries a lot of people. There is so much support from the library and from your lecturers to help you understand everything, and you have 4 research skills modules you do in your first 2 years to build your understanding of stats as well as research techniques for your dissertation in 3rd year. So don't panic because you're in great hands, and it's not as bad as a lot of people think it might be.
So does your first year count towards your final degree grade? Long story short, no, it doesn't. However, that isn't an excuse just to lay around the house and do nothing. Listen to your parents. First year, you do have to work. There is quite a lot of work. This is uni, this isn't school, this is a step up. So basically, how it works is you need to get 40% to pass the year. Obviously, you want to do better than 40%. I'll get onto that in a second, but you have 40% to pass the year. If you don't get 40%, then you have to retake the year, and you don't want that. Basically, first year is meant to be the foundation that you learn from in your second and third year. So you want to really engage with the content, learn the content, go to your seminars, go to your lectures and get good attendance, because your modules are actually allocated based on how good your attendance is throughout your degree. So it is very important and you do need to do the work. Having said that, first year is a lot of fun, so enjoy yourself.